Today we're going to talk about conditionals, and a conditional is an if situation in the English language. It means something could or might happen if you do something. For example, if I stop talking right now, there won't be a class. Another example, if I raise my kids properly, then they will grow up to understand respect and responsibility. There are 4 types of conditional: 0, 1, 2 and 3. The reason there's a 0, 1, 2, 3 instead of a 1, 2, 3, 4 is because they'd sorted out the 1, 2, 3 and then realised there was another which came before them, and so they called it the 0. Now the technical and the tense aspects can be a little bit confusing, so we're not going to deal with that today. I'm going to break it down into how we use the conditionals rather than how we use the tenses. And that's because when we grow up we don't learn all the things behind it, we just learn how they're used and it comes naturally. Now, very few English people know these terms. If you were to ask someone in the street what a third conditional was, it's almost certain they wouldn't have a clue. Very few native English speakers understand these rules unless they are teachers or linguists. And so if you become a teacher, then you will learn how to do it. And that's a conditional there. Now, once we've gone through the class, once we've gone through the lesson, you can have a go and see if you know which one that is, if it's a 0, 1, 2, 3 or 4. Here's the 0. If water gets hot enough, it boils. Okay, so what we've got there is we've got an if, which is if, and then the condition, water gets hot enough, and the result, it boils. This is a fact, and it's true. This is the 0 conditional. If water gets hot enough, it boils. Another one here is if you leave ice cream in the sunshine, it melts. So you've got the if, which is if, the condition, you leave ice cream in the sunshine, and the definite result, it melts. So that is something definite. That's something that's definitely going to happen if you do something. So that's relatively simple, isn't it? Let's have a look at the first conditional and let's apply this to you. What we see here is a likely outcome if your specific condition is met. If you study for the exam, you will get a good grade. Okay, so that's a possible or likely result. If is the if, you study for the exam, which is the condition, you will get a good grade. Okay, so that's a possible or likely result. So if you study for the exam, you will get a good grade. Again, this isn't definite, so it's not like the first one, which is definite. This is a likely or a possible outcome. The second condition would be an unlikely outcome if, say for example, something odd happened, like winning the lottery. So if I say to you, if I won the lottery, I would quit working. Am I going to win the lottery? Probably not. Am I going to quit working? Probably not. And so it's an unlikely happening and an unlikely result. Another one, if I could run as fast as a cheetah, I would win an Olympic medal. Do I run as fast as a cheetah? No. If I could, it's not going to happen, is it? Would I win an Olympic medal? Well, I would if that happened, but I'm not going to. So both these things are unlikely. What you'll notice here as well is that we use the past tense even though we're talking about something that could be in the future, because it's something that might happen if an unlikely event were to happen or you had an unlikely ability, for example running as fast as a cheetah. Another one here is if I owned an English school, I would give you all free lessons. Not like. Now we come to the third and final conditional, and I might say to you, if I had set my alarm, I would not have been late for the class. Okay, so what we're looking at here is the if conditional, the past condition, and the past result. Because again, what we're talking about here is the past. The reality is that I was late for class because I didn't set my alarm. So there's a different outcome to the thing that would have happened, or a regret if the condition had been met. We don't often use this as we already know what's happened. So it's in the past and it's all conjecture. Although it's worth noting if you want to become a writer, because if you had written a book, I could have been one of the characters. A quick recap. Again, you don't need to know the terms, like first, second, third conditional. You just need to know where they come in conversation or in your writing. So 0 is the present, and it's something that will happen if you do something. It's a definite outcome. It's not likely, it's not possible, it's definite. Again, if you heat water, eventually it will boil. The first is the future and is likely. So if I study hard enough, I will pass the exam. So we know that if I study hard enough, and I should study hard enough, then the likely outcome is that I will pass the exam, or the possible outcome is that I will pass the exam. The second conditional is the future and it's unlikely. Okay, so both instances are unlikely. So if I win the lottery, or if I could run as fast as a cheetah, then I would retire from work, or I would win an Olympic medal. Again, both of these things are unlikely. And the third conditional is in the past. An example is, if I'd studied harder for the English exam, I would have got a better grade. Fact is, I didn't get a better grade because I didn't study hard enough. So, okay, so they're both in the past. And the answer to the first question, if you become a teacher, you'll understand how conditionals work. That's obviously a first, because we've got the if, then the condition, and then the result. Okay, so it's a likely or possible outcome. I hope you enjoyed my brief introduction to conditionals. You will come across these in English language, and I hope that will help you in future.